Hello, how are you doing? Good evening. How are you doing? Good evening. And can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, Yusra. You can speak Bikonu now. Good evening. Okay, great. How was your day? Are you done for today? And you're looking at a very, 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 very important topic for analysts. Okay, good evening, check here. How are you doing? Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better? Yusra, can you hear me? Is it better? Can you hear me? Is it better? Okay, today we are going to be looking at a very, very important section. Can you hear me, Yusra and Emmanuel? Okay, great. We are going to be looking at that which makes you an analyst. It means if you say that you are an analyst, if you want to be part of those top 1%, I'm sure you must have heard some people say that when it comes to tech, it's those people that started previously, people that started way back, they are the ones that are making it in tech. But that's not the case because that is not what defines the longevity. How long you have been in a particular field is not what defines the best one. Yes, there is that place of experience that you gather over time, but what makes you part of those people that are sought after is what we are going to be looking at today. And as a brief introduction, I'm Ifnea by name, a Microsoft certified data analyst and also a certified project manager. I'm a lead consultant and data analyst with close to half a decade of experience, and I've taught over 5,000 data analysis using MX Excel, Power BI, and Tableau. I'm proficient with those tools, and I've handled multiple projects, over 15. 15 is just to put a number to it, but it is definitely more than 15. And my niche, the edtech industry. I reside in Abuja, I'm married, and one of my favorite quotes is that anything worth doing is worth doing well. Yash, welcome, and it's nice having you here. Part of the things we are going to be looking at today is how top analysts approach data before visuals. The common mistakes some data analysts make, they don't even realize that they are making those mistakes. The mental shifts, because for you to be part of those top 1%, there should be something. There is meant to be a mindset shift from what and how you currently approach the data analysis, how you currently approach what you do as a data analyst to what you should be doing as a data analyst. Just like that thing they tell you to all those kind of motivational quotes to you, if you want to be rich, you have to act like the rich, you have to think like the rich. So if you want to start seeing yourself as that top one analyst that has that thing, because what makes you a top one analyst is that you have that thing which nobody else has. You have that thing, that differentiating factor, that unique thing that differentiates you from people. That is what makes you a top one, not the number of tools you know how to use, but how you think. So it means if you are thinking like a top one analyst, then you are a top one analyst. Those are the things we are going to be looking out for, and we will discuss some challenges and their solution. Are you ready? I would love you to drop it in the comments. Yes, I am ready. Yes, I am ready. Thank you, Ngafo. How are you doing? The first one, what does it really mean to think like a data analyst? What does it really mean to think like a data analyst? It is not about the charts. It is not about the charts. It's about clarity. Now, before you start analyzing your data, when you download that data set, the first thing is that you are looking at the data you have. You ask yourself questions, because remember, as a data analyst, you're either answering a question or solving a problem. I'd love you to drop it in the chat. As a data analyst, I'm either answering a question or solving a problem. That is what makes you a data analyst. That you are not just looking at the information, you're not just trying to create charts. You are looking at the information you have in your dashboard, and you are trying to relate it to the question you want to solve for the organization, or the problem you want to resolve for this organization. So as a data analyst, before you start creating a dashboard, you first of all ask yourself questions. Have your questions. What problem am I trying to solve? What is that question I'm trying to answer using this data set? That is the first step. You are not going with the charts first. It's the questions you have at the back of your mind that you want to answer. That's what informs the kind of charts that you use, the kind of charts that you start trying to build, the kind of dashboard that you build, because you have at the back of your mind first the questions you want to answer. So before you start creating any visuals, start with a question. And thinking like a data analyst, what does it actually mean? It means Always ask them why. You are not just looking at it the way every other person is looking at it. Because if you're looking at it the way every other person is looking at it, what is now the differentiating factor between you and the other person? You ask questions. You ask questions, you understand the numbers, you understand the data sets. That is what differentiates A from B. Let me give you an instance. Let's assume, for example, that you stay in Lagos. I'm using Lagos because I know that Lagos is prone to traffic, and you drive. You have a meeting in your office. The meeting, you are supposed to be there in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And because you know already that Lagos is prone to traffic, you decide to use Google Map. You decide to not just use Google Map, but you want to use Google Map to arrive or to go through the route that does not have traffic. Reason being that you have a meeting to meet. And this meeting you want to meet is not just any meeting, it's a money issue. So you are trying to use Google Map to help you channel to the location or to the route that does not have traffic. Now, when you go through that route, you saw yourself, you just met traffic. And not only did you miss traffic, you stayed inside your car or you sat inside your car, stayed on that traffic for another 2 hours. Remember, you were trying to meet up with a 15 minutes meeting that you had in your office that has money involved. Now, this is what happened. That after the 2 hours you finished there via that traffic, you went to your office and definitely the deal has been done. And because you were not there, you lost the money. What happened? One, it was because of the fact that you trusted Google Map. Not that the information they gave you is wrong, because maybe the routes that Google Map showed you, it's the most probable one compared to the other ones that you would have gone and stuck in traffic more than maybe the 2 hours that you stayed there. And the reason why we are saying this is because we know that to a large extent, Google Map is correct. But now let's assume that this is what happened. Because of this, you lost this information. And that is why it is very, very important that as analysts, we are not just looking at things anyhow. We are not just saying it, looking at different numbers. You're not just placing them. You understand that every single decision that you make is going to affect a lot of things. Because you trusted the information that Google provided you with, that is why you went and you got stuck in traffic. What was the resultant effect? You lost the money you would have made if maybe you took another route, or if maybe you trusted your instincts. But because you trusted this information, you you were able to arrive there, but you were able to not get the right thing you wanted to get. You were able to not meet up with the things that you wanted to meet up with. As a data analyst, you're not just jumping into Excel or Power BI without having a question. You should have at the back of your mind what you want to achieve. You should be curious. You are not going to be looking at the information or the numbers that you have there and assume that that is all that is. Another illustration, I have a friend that works in a very big multinational company in Lagos. And she gave me a story as it concerns the issue that happened with the data analyst they had in the company. What happened? These data analysts that they employed, they used the data analyst gave them feedback based on the data sets, provided dashboard, and they made a decision based on that information that the data analyst provided. What was the resultant effect? Now, part of the things or part of the information that this data analyst gave them was that there's a particular product that is the lowest performing product. And because of this information, they discarded those products. And in discarding it, they found out that yes, this particular item is actually performing low, but it is performing low only in in all the locations that this particular product is performing in. In fact, this particular product that they had to make a meal with is doing very well in locations like Abuja, Port Harcourt. It just in some locations. And these data analysts looked at just the numbers that they have, did not ask questions, just did what he thought could do and provided the information that made them to make that kind of decision that they made, which resulted to a huge loss. Now, what do you think happened to the data analyst? You can drop it in the chat. What do you think happened to the data analyst? And for this organization, definitely the deed has been done. There is no remedy to it. They are going to be counting their loss. And this is what happens if you just approach your data sets, or if you just approach your analysis without being curious, if you just approach it like that, without asking questions, without trying to understand the numbers, without making sure that you are probing in further. Because the difference between you and the other analyst, who is the top one analyst, is that they are not just taking the information the way they are seeing it. They are taking the information and they are making sure that the information they are taking is the right one. They will cross all the T's, they'll cross all the I's, and make sure that this information I'm providing. Because yes, just like that story, that movie that we watched, this Merlin kind of story. I believe that most of us know Merlin. This the destiny of a great kingdom lies on the shoulder of a young boy. His name is Merlin. The destiny of an organization lies on your shoulder as an analyst. So you should be able to make sure that the information you are providing to an organization is that information that will help them to make not just better decision, is not just making better decision, is making sure that you are not leading them astray to make a wrong decision because of your analysis. So part of the mistakes that some data analysts makes is that they jump into Excel without asking or knowing the questions. Remember, as a data analyst, you're either answering a question or solving a problem. You can drop it in the chat. As a data analyst, I'm either asking a question or solving a problem. You mistake a lot of things, the visual appeals, for valuable insights. No. Just like this illustration I gave about this, my friend, that definitely the data analyst lost his job. I saw what you wrote, Emmanuel. It's not just the visuals, it's about the insights. It's about the insights. And how would you even know that this is an insight? It's because you have a question. It's because of the questions that you have. That is what would make you understand that yes, when you are seeing this particular trend, is an insight. When it's going in this particular direction, then maybe I should probe in further to know why it's going in that direction. Another mistake that they make is that you are looking at the KPIs and you are showing KPIs that does not have any interpretation or recommendation. And you also fail to connect the data to business goal. Remember, you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to answer a question using your data. You're trying to solve a problem for this organization. Because of this problem you're trying to solve, definitely you have to make sure that the information you are showing is answering the question or solving the problem that the organization has, thereby meeting the organization's business goals. It's not just going to look great. It's not meant to only look great. It should look great and be telling a story, a good story, and not nothing. What you should do instead, make sure that before you get started in your analysis, you clarify the objectives. Who needs these insights? Why do they need it? What problem are you trying to solve? What is that business goal that needs to be optimized? Make sure that you ask questions, because also understanding your audience helps in guiding the kind of visuals you display. Because remember, you yield the power to help this organization either grow or otherwise. I'd love you to drop it in the chat that I yield the power to either make an organization grow or otherwise. I yield the power to either make an organization make better business decisions or otherwise. Because you yield that power, you should not approach it anyhow. And before you get started, to ensure that you're part of those top one analysts, you validate your data before building. Ask all the questions. If this person validated that data of that particular product being the lowest performing product, if he validated that data, he would have known that it was for a particular region and not for the entire organization. Make sure you validate your data. Focus on answering one key question per visual. It means that if you are trying to bring in a pie chart, you are using these pie charts to answer questions. Based on the questions you have listed out, this pie chart is answering this question. Based on the information you have here, this bar chart is answering one question. Focus on answering only one question per visual, and ensure you understand the different types of charts and when to use them. Because if you're trying to show a trend, you should be using a line chart. If you are not showing a trend, you should be using another thing. If you are trying to break in something as a part of a whole, you should be using a pie chart. So understand the different types of charts and when to use them so that you make sure that the questions you're trying to answer with your data set, you're using the right chart that will tell the story very well. And remember, good data analysts, they don't just the good data analysts, yes, they can just visualize the data, but those people that you call the great data analysts, those top 1%, they don't just create visuals, they tell stories using their data. They think strategically. Now imagine, for example, that maybe in school, in your secondary school, that you assumed based on the records that you had, based on the fact that you were acing all your subjects, that you are going to be the best graduating student. Then the day of the graduation came, maybe 2 days to the graduation, you found out that it was not you, it was another person. And you know, definitely the person will be the one to give a valedictory speech and all of those kind of ceremonies with the VC or with the principal welcoming or checking the person and, you know, giving the congratulation and heartfelt messages. And after that ceremony, you found out 2 days later that your teacher actually made a mistake in your grade. And by the time they rechecked what they did, they now found out that indeed you were the person that was actually the best graduate in just that it was a mistake. How would you feel? How would you feel? How would you feel? How would you feel? I would love you to drop it in the chat. It means that before 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 you open your Power BI and Excel, you should make sure at the back of your mind that you're trying to solve a problem. You're not trying to create one. So it means you should make sure that every single thing that you are doing, every single analysis that you're trying to place, every single chart you're trying to create, you're not just creating charts, you're creating charts with purpose. You're not just building any visual, you're building the visual having in mind the main aim, what you want to achieve with that. You are thinking critically, you are thinking strategically, you are thinking intentionally, you are being intentional. The weight of an organization to be able to go right or left lies on you to help them inform them based on the data sets that you are going to be analyzing, that this organization you should go this way. Because of that information, you don't want to mislead them. Hence, have at the back of your mind that you have that, it lies in you. You have the power to make sure that yes, I am not just going to jump into analysis. I am not just going to start speaking any visuals. But the process is that before I start speaking any visual, I understand the data set. I make sure I validate my data set. And when I'm done validating my answer data set, I make sure that every single chart that I'm picking the chart that answers a particular question that meets the business goals. You are not just doing what you think you should do, you are being strategic about it. You're not just being technical, you are being strategic. And you are focusing on the person who needs this insight and why they need it. And you are providing context to the information. You are not just giving information because it sounds nice. You understand what it means. You understand why this insight matters and the action behind it. Okay, this is it. This is why it matters, and this is the next thing we should do. And remember, you should make sure that the next thing we should do is the right thing to do because you are certain that your data is accurate, your analysis is perfect because you have crossed all your T's and I's. So imagine being a perfect person that is able to help organizations make sure that every single decision they are making is not the wrong decision, that they are making the accurate decision they should make because your data is accurate. Data is 100% validated. What do you think will become of that person in that organization? I would love you to drop it in the comments. What do you think will become of a data analyst that is working in an organization that is ensuring that they are delivering, not just delivering as per what is expected, but they are delivering beyond what is expected because they have mastered the art of making sure they are accurate with their data analysis. They are making sure that they are accurate with the T's and the I's they are crossing. They are making sure that every single visual they are showing, every single recommendation they are giving is because of the insights they have derived from their data sets. What do you think will become of this person in an organization? I'd love you to drop it in the chat. What do you think will become of this person in an organization? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? These are the process that I would love you to take home. It means that if there's anything I would love you to take home today, I would love you to take home this. You first of all understand your data, then generate business questions from your data set. After which you use those business questions to create your visuals. And when you are done with creating your visuals, the visuals will inform the insights. And with the insights, you now generate your actions, which in this case, the recommendations. Data understanding, business questions. I would love you to drop it in the chat. Data understanding, business questions, visuals, insights, action. You understand your data, you will generate business questions because you understand that you're either solving a problem or answering a question. Those business questions will inform the visuals you use, will inform the type of charts that you use. And when you are done creating those visuals, the next thing is you start deriving insights from them, and your insights will inform the actions that you give the organization to do. And remember, before you even open Excel or Power BI, train your mind to think like a problem solver, not just a chart maker. Before you open Power BI, train your mind to think like a problem solver and not just a chart maker. I'd love you to drop it in the chat. Data understanding, business questions, visuals. These are the 5 steps that makes you not just any analyst, but a very good analyst. The steps that makes you not just any analyst, but a very good analyst is you understand the data, you ask business questions, you generate your visuals, you generate from your visuals, you generate clear insights, and the insights inform your actions. I'd love you to drop it in the chat. And for the week 3, for the data challenge week 7, which is next week, it is going to be on data cleaning. Reason being that data cleaning is very important because you have to make sure that you are validating your data sets. And when you are done validating your data sets, then you start creating visuals. That's the step. You understand your data, and you're understanding your data means you're removing some duplicates, you're removing some things, you are inserting things, you're arranging and reshaping, pre-processing your data sets, making it ready for analysis, then generating questions, creating your visuals, your insights, and the action following. And for this section, and for this, the next step for this is that after this section, the next step for this week 6 challenge is you can download the data set. It was sent via your email. Download the data sets, analyze the data sets, having in mind understanding of your data, having in mind the 5 processes: understand your data, 10 ask questions, generate questions from your data set based on who needs this information, why they need it, and when you are done, you start creating your visuals. From your visuals, you start creating, generating insights from there, and the next thing, the recommendations. And for this DC week 6, you can try it out, and the instruction is also via the data set. You can try it out, having in mind, create your dashboard, build your visuals, answer a question or solve a problem for that data set, for that organization, which is in the dummy data set. Based on those things that you have learned now, use it to practice the mindset of a data analyst. Use it to practice how to think like a data analyst, what to expect. It means other than the questions that I generated for the data set, generate questions that you think would help make impactful analysis to this organization. And it mustn't be the information shown. That is where your creativity comes in. So that when you are giving your recommendations, you are sure and certain that your recommendation, it is accurate, it is true. And do we have questions? 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 And would you be trying it? Do we have questions and would you be trying it? Do we have questions? And would you be trying it? Okay. I look forward to our submissions. I look forward to our submissions. And if you have questions, you can send a message via LinkedIn or you can reply the emails.